Hello, fans of all ages. Welcome back to the Morik podcast. This is Morik. And today I figured that I should talk about a very hot topic in today's world of sports. Today is August 15th, 2014. And yesterday, a new commissioner was named in Major League Baseball. Manfred will become the 10th commissioner once Bud Selig retires on January 25th, 2015. There has been a lot of talk about baseball and how it is becoming very unpopular and how the youth is not attracted to the game anymore. Before I start, I want to point out that although football and probably basketball have grown immensely in popularity, baseball is still America's pastime. And I can prove that right now by telling you all to turn your TVs on to ESPN for the next week and a half. You will be watching the Little League World Series throughout that entire time. We don't see Pop Warner championships. We don't see national championships for basketball. We don't see the Stanley Cup for 12-year-olds. We watch the Little League World Series every August, and it's probably one of the most popular events ESPN puts on every year. Definitely. Everyone tunes into the Little League World Series. And in the blink of an eye, there are people who participate in the Little League World Series that are household names, aka Monet Davis. She's a household name, and she's been in the spotlight for a week. Baseball is definitely decreasing in popularity. There's no question about it. But to say that it's not popular is not true at all. And does baseball need help? Yes, definitely. But is there an answer? I'm not really sure if there's an answer. But the one thing, the biggest complaint about baseball is that the game is too slow. There is no question that the pace of the game needs to be faster. The time has to stop being called every at-bat by the batter so they can fix their batting gloves, so the catchers can talk to the pitchers for 45 seconds about whether to throw a fastball or a curveball. But here's the thing about the pace of baseball. Basketball, you have a shot clock. Football, you have a play clock. Those sports have time limits. Baseball, you get 3 outs. 3 outs an inning for 9 innings. It's not like it's who can score the most amount of runs in 2 hours. That's the difference between baseball and every sport. Now, obviously, I agree that the pace is slow. I cannot stand when batters call time, step out of the box, and then come back in. Honestly, that's their own fault for their muscles stiffening up. You have to stay loose in the box. You have to stay ready. So the pace does need to get a little faster. But what is the answer? Do they really need pitch clocks? Now, I'm all for limiting the timeouts called per at bat, the visitations between the catcher and the pitcher, and the coaches and the pitchers. But it's tough to put a time limit on a sport that doesn't have a time limit throughout the duration of the game. Now, the average game is 2 hours, 51 minutes. It's not that long when you think about it. If you're not a baseball fan, it's going to be long. I've said this before. Baseball is by far my favorite sport. Nothing is going to compare. If the Yankees played in one of those 19-inning games, I would not have shut the game off. A, because I like the game. B, because I'm not about to miss one of the greatest games in MLB history, especially when my favorite team is in it. I think besides that, the game needs to be faster. Another reason why this game has decreased in popularity, Don LaGreca said it on the Michael Kay show yesterday. The big thing is that, let's say you go to a basketball game, you are going to draw fans when LeBron comes to your town, no matter what. Every play, you can give the ball to LeBron. He's going to be in action. Now let's take the Yankees. You have Derek Jeter and you have Steven Drew. It's not like Derek Jeter can be sent up to the plate every single time. You have to go through the order. Derek Jeter will probably only get one more plate appearance than Steven Drew on the average if they're both starting. So the individuality in baseball, even though it's pitcher versus batter, the individuality, the marketing of one athlete isn't there. It's not there. Because with the exception of this year and probably last year with Mariano, people don't go to games to see one person. Every basketball game I've gone to in the last 2-3 years, I've been to a couple Knicks games, I've been to a Nets game. All of them were against the Heat and LeBron. I didn't go to watch a game of basketball. I went to watch LeBron James play the sport. This year, people go to a Yankee game on the road to see Derek Jeter and pay their respects. Last year, people saw Mariano. But how many times do people go to a game and say, I'm here to watch Andrew McCutchen, I'm here to watch Miguel Cabrera, I'm here to watch Mike Trout? Not many people. But those are the baseball super fans like me who go to see one or two people. Baseball fans go to see a baseball game. So it's very tough to market baseball when you go to see a team rather than a player. And another big reason why this game is decreasing in popularity is that it's very organized. It's an organized sport. Here's what I mean. Baseball, you need 9 guys. Football, you can play a 2-on-2. Basketball, you can play a 2-on-2, 3-on-3 half-court game. You can go out in the middle of the street and toss the football, shoot around. Baseball, the stickball days in the middle of the street, 3-on-3 are over. They've been long over. It's really hard to organize a baseball game now. It's so easy to just call someone and say, hey, you want to play ball? Let's toss the pigskin around. Now, if you want to take batting practice and you want to work on bullpens, then okay, you can call someone and say, hey, let's go to the batting cage. But if you want to actually compete, you can't. It's almost impossible. You need a full squad. You can't play a pickup game of baseball on a diamond with a 5-on-5. So that's a huge thing right there. That's big. When you can't organize a game, that's going to decrease the popularity. Another reason is the difference between the personality of a baseball player and the personality of football, basketball, and hockey players. Baseball is a game of respect. There are a lot of unwritten rules. Football, basketball, not a lot of unwritten rules. You make the catch, you tackle legally, and then you go from there. You score a touchdown, you do these touchdown dances, the Gronk spike, Jimmy Graham's dunking, which is now illegal, which is ridiculous. Baseball, there aren't many athletes who show a lot of personality. And the thing is, me personally, I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to take Fernando Rodney for example. He shoots his bow and arrow into the sky. It's so stupid. It's so annoying. But the reason why I say that is because that's not baseball. Baseball is not a sport where you show off your personality. It's not a sport where you jump around and mob your teammates after every out. Football and basketball, you celebrate to no end when you succeed. That's the big difference between the personalities in these sports. And that bores the average viewer. You don't see a lot of guys act like that. And when you do see it on a baseball diamond, like Puig, Harper, Rodney, those are the guys that true baseball fans don't really like because you're not supposed to show that much emotion. Why do you think Derek Jeter and Mariano Rivera and Mike Trout, all these guys, why do you think they're the faces of baseball? It's because they play the right way. Showboating is not playing the right way. That's different in football. You can showboat all you want. Unless, of course, you get a penalty for unsportsmanlike conduct. I can't even... Every time Fernando Rodney comes in for the save, I don't care who... They could play Boston. They could play the Red Sox. And I'm hoping he blows the save because I can't stand to see his imaginary bow and arrow. It's a game of respect. And on top of that, there is no contact. And now that they have gotten rid of home plate collisions, which is ridiculous because even the umpires can't figure out that rule, that bores fans. If you haven't yet, watch Hard Knocks. The previews are them fighting and tackling each other and sprinting and sweating and all that. You don't see that in baseball. And yes, that bores a super fan of baseball like me. I will admit it. I'll openly admit it. That part is boring in this sport. Now, I'm not saying this has to be MLB slugfest, but people are attracted to the ones that are strong and physical and tough. The first thing you think of with baseball is not toughness. Why do you think football has skyrocketed in popularity over the past 30 years? Besides fantasy football. That's a big reason why football is so popular, because of fantasy. Think about it. They hit, they tackle, they are tough. They are tough boys. So when you don't see that in baseball, it bores the fan. It really does. The one thing that I am completely against about changing baseball is shortening the game itself to 7 innings. People say the game is too long. The game is not long. It's the pace of the game. There's a big difference. I see football games that go to 3.5, 4 hours, but the pace is bang, 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 bang. You can sit at a Yankee game for 3 hours and the score can be 2-1. 3-hour game, a little above average, but a 2-1 game should not last 3 hours. So it's not the length of the game. It's not the 9 innings. That's not the problem. It's the pace of the game. When instant replay came about in the MLB, people were in an uproar because it would take the game longer. That's why football got rid of instant replay in sometime in the early to mid 90s. They got rid of instant replay because it was taking too long. And they implemented it back in 1999. Now, I'm pro replay, but that takes a little too long also. That slows down the pace of the game as well. Some people say the schedule should be shortened. That, it's debatable. I mean, I love how if I don't have plans, I can just sit and watch a Yankee game. I love how every night there's a game going on. And if you shorten that schedule, that routine is no more. It's the best knowing that you can just watch a baseball game if you have no plans. I cancel plans to watch Yankee games every night. It's great. Last mid-October was the worst because basketball didn't start yet, hockey didn't start yet, and the Yankees were not in the postseason. Obviously, I watched the Fall Classic because I'm a baseball fan. I'm gonna watch the postseason, but it's not the same when your team's not playing. First of all, and second of all, I couldn't watch the Yankees, and I had to wait once a week for the Giants to play. So that was brutal. When the Yankees have an off day, it tears me up inside. Like, I try not to make plans because I say, I'm watching the Yankee game tonight. Because any game that you miss can be the best game ever played in MLB history. It's an honor that every night I have something to do because of baseball and the 162 game schedule. If they played 100 games, that's cutting out 2.5 months of the season. You're probably getting a lot more off days. And to state the obvious, that's less time to watch baseball. It's great to know that you have a plan every night. So shortening the schedule is not a good idea at all. Another big reason, and a very underrated reason, why baseball has decreased in popularity, the number of African American baseball players has decreased so much. On Jackie Robinson Day of this year, there were 66 Major League Baseball players that were African American. There are 750 Major League players right now, and 85 of them are going to be on the new biogenesis list. There are more steroid users in Major League Baseball than there are African American players. Think about that. That's mind-blowing. That's very upsetting. Not only to baseball, but to sports in general. Now, I'm not saying the league needs to have every person be black. There shouldn't be a rule that half of them need to be African American. But that's a big reason why this sport is decreasing in popularity. And I think it's about where the kids grow up. It's all about their surroundings. If they're not surrounded by the game, this goes for all kids, all races. If they're not surrounded by the game a lot, they're not going to be interested. Simple as that. And that goes back to my reasoning of this game being very organized. You can just go out and play football with 4 people if you want. It's possible. You can't do that with baseball. And when you're not surrounded by it, this sport is going to decrease in popularity even more. The funny thing is, everything that I've mentioned about baseball and why people don't like it, those are the reasons why I like the sport. And if your favorite sport is baseball, you're not an average fan, because not only is your favorite sport baseball, that itself is not average, but that means that you like the things that most people don't like. A lot of people don't like how the game is slow, but you refer back to the fact that there's no time limit, that each team gets their own chance. It's not like you can just sit on the knee and end the game. And some people hate the fact that they don't show a lot of emotion, but when you're a big fan of a game that's full of respect, that's what you are used to. That's what you adapt to. That's what you like. And some people just don't like that in baseball. But all in all, clearly there are a lot of reasons why baseball is decreasing in popularity. And I really hope that Rob Manfred can find solutions to these problems. And it's going to be very difficult. And on top of that, we are not far away from Rob Manfred's first big test as a commissioner. The current collective bargaining agreement for the MLB is over in just over 2 years. December 2016, it expires. Expect a lot of changes in 2016 heading into the 2017 season. I know it seems far away, but it's not. It'll be here just like that. All right, that about does it for me. I am leaving for vacation tomorrow, so I will try my best to give you a show when I can. But in the meantime, this is Ryan Morik with the Ryan Morik Podcast. It's not goodbye. It's see you later. Take care, everybody.